Okay, and we're back. I'm Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka S.G.I.B magazine. And what we're going through is the history of Filipino Soul, S.G.I.B magazine, to kind of give you some background on the magazine. Now, this issue here, this is how I launched the magazine. It was both in English and Spanish. Okay, just like it flipped over. It flipped over like this, and one side was Spanish and one side was English. And that's why I said it's a magazine that goes both ways. And I had a woman. She was my neighbor across the street, and I used to pay her to translate the magazine into Spanish. And it was great because I recognized the growth of the Hispanic community on Long Island, and this was my way of capitalizing and recognizing and paying homage to the growth of Hispanics that were, taking place in Long Island. So it felt good to be able to I love cultures. To walk in both cultures. Now, this one had the Cold Crush Brothers. Some of you know the Cold Crush Brothers. The Cold Crush Brothers are an early pioneer group in hip hop. So Google them, Cold Crush Brothers. This one had Livingston. This was an artist from Roosevelt who I had on the cover. And this photograph here, I had one of him really smiling, but his manager said, no, we don't want him smiling. We want to look kind of dope. Kind of dope. Okay. So, but he was very happy. This one I also interviewed the King of Blues, B.B. King, in this issue. You'll see another one of him on the cover. And when I interviewed B.B. King, I said, Mr. King, I said, today your picture hangs on the walls of young blues and jazz enthusiasts. In 20 years, it may be Kenny G, or maybe some of these new wave artists, jazz and blues artists. Yours will no longer be in the wall. How do you feel about that? And he says, I'll tell you what. He says, whenever I'm performing, I count the number of black faces in the audience. He says, if I see 17, if I count 17, it's going to be a good night. I said, wow. And it's true. Other cultures, other countries cherish our music more than we do ourselves. Now, B.B. King, there's something else I'm going to tell you about. Your B.B. King. I was on assignment with C.O.R.E. For those of you who don't know C.O.R.E., C.O.R.E. is the Republican version of the NAACP. C.O.R.E. stands for C.O.R.E. 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 Right for Equality. I can't remember, but anyway, their main guest was Charleston Heston. You may know Charleston Heston from Ben-Hur and a number of other movies. He was also president of the NRA. And B.B. King. So when you go on these assignments, you have a press corps. A press corps is confined in this little area, them jockeying for position, shooting over each other's shoulder, and trying to get the picture. So people were yelling, "BB, BB, BB," because BB just stood there at the podium like this. He wasn't giving them nothing, just like this. And so I said, okay. I said, hey, Lucille. Lucille is the name of his guitar. He turned and smiled, and everybody got the picture that night because of me. So, it's one of those quick thinking things on your feet. Okay, so Congressional Organization of Rights and Equality. I think that's a core example. Congressional Organization of Right and Equality. Anyway. Okay, so also Sara. Sara, the hardest working dancer in show business. Now let me tell you about Sara. If you ever watch the Godfather Soul perform on YouTube now, Look for the tall blonde dancing behind him. That's Sara. And Sara also does a duet with him on stage in Spanish while Mr. Brown catches his breath. You'll see her come and she's a rapper. I used to manage her group called Tupac. So look up Tupac. She's from Barcelona, Spain. And whenever she would come around me, I would have an event around her to talk to the youth about her experience in working with the hardest man in show business, the Godfather soul, Mr. James Brown. The first one I did, I said, where all the Hispanics are? Don't they know? I mean, this is Sarah Raya. She danced with the Godfather soul. I mean, don't they want to come see her? And someone pointed out, Gerard, she's from Spain. We don't like Spaniards. I said, oh, wow. I said, oh, no, not you, too. It seems like they don't like people from Spain. So anyway, but Sarah Raya got her job. And this is the importance of recognizing opportunity when it knocks. Sarah Raya was supposed to perform at Bonnie's pre-Grammy party with her troupe. They were coming in from Spain or wherever they were. She had a troupe of a few dancers supposed to dance, but they didn't show up. Just Sara showed up. So Bonnie said, well, shit, Sara, you want to help out? Sara said, yes. She said, okay, I'll put you at Mr. Brown's table. So she said, okay. I don't think she really knew much about Mr. Brown. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people now, you ask who Mr. James Brown is, a lot of people don't know. It's a shame, but time goes on. So while she was waiting on Mr. Brown and all that stuff like that, waiting on his table and doing what she wanted. Now Bonnie's pre-Grammy party was very unique. It was around the round tables were tables of 10, where anyone can walk up and talk to anybody. That's what made her event so unique and so much wanting to be there, because you can walk up and talk to the Godfather. You can walk up and talk to Mr. Joe Jackson. You can walk up and talk to anyone in the industry. And you can walk up and talk to what's his name? I can't remember. Ron Tyson. Ron Tyson is one of the members of Temptations. You can walk up and talk to Judge Maybelline. I got in trouble for that, because when I saw Judge Maybelline, I said, Judge Judy, right? She said, no, that's the white one. I said, but you can walk up and talk to them. Janelle Dubois, who is a very good friend of Bonnie's and mine's, I can say that. But anyway, so Mr. Brown asked her, what do you do? What do you do? She said, I'm a dancer. He said, you my new dancer. You my new dancer. And she was like, yeah, all right. Give him your number. So she gave him a number. About 2 days later, she got a call and was flown to Augusta, Georgia. And she became the background dancer for the Godfather soul, Mr. James Brown. She traveled around the world 6 times with him. And I use her as an example because, opportunity can come at the most unlikeliest places. Are you going to walk through that door? Are you going to take that chance? Are you going to take that risk? Because it could be a risk, But, you won't know until you walk through that door. She did. She did. Her and I went to Bonnie Hilton Sweeney's memorial service together. And she would perform for the kids, and they just loved her. Okay, so that's why I named her as the hardest working dancer in show business, after the Godfather soul, the hardest working man in show business. Oh, here is B.B. King. This is my interviewing Mr. B.B. King. You can probably see it. There's myself and B.B. King. This is Tatiana. She was with me at that time, and also my photographer. And this is Mr. King. Mr. King performing, that I took the picture of him, and I interviewed him and told you the story of what I just told This is Sarah. This is Sarah dancing behind the Godfather's soul, Mr. James Brown. So if you watch her and you see her, that's her. Again, this is Sara performing with the youth. S.G.I.B magazine. So anyway, I would bring her and she would dance with the kids, and she would do her own routine, and they just loved it. They had a good time. Now this one here of the magazine has an interesting story, because by now I wanted to photograph a girl on the magazine. So I decided that I wanted to photograph a female. So I was with I can't remember his name, in Producer's Corner. He did Rum Shaker. So if you, those hip hop heads who know Rum Shaker, you know the producer I'm talking about. Very famous producer. Anyway, I was telling him I was looking for a girl to put on the cover of the magazine. So he says, "How about Gloria?" I said, "Gloria?" I said, "Who is she?" He said, "You see her in 50. She was a video vixen. You see her in 50 Cent's movies, videos. You see a Jay-Z video. You see her, she's always in the videos." So I said, "Okay." So I talked to her. She said yes. So I interviewed her, and we walked around and we took these pictures, of her, and I put her in the magazine. When the magazine came out, people said, "Gerard, you got Gloria on the cover of your magazine?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Gerard, do you know who Gloria is?" I said, "She's a video vixen." He said, "Go to her website." I went to Gloria's website. Oh my God. That girl did everything except shine shoes to get to the business. In fact, the New York Post was doing a story on her because her manager, she was in this big bus that traveled up and down the Eastern Seaboard, where she would perform and promote herself, Gloria Velez, and big shot of her on the bus and everything. And it turned out that underneath her bed, she was sleeping on all these kilos of cocaine and money. So they didn't charge her. I don't know who they charged, but they didn't do nothing. I'm just sleeping, you know what I'm saying? And so the Post wanted some pictures of her, so they went to a website and said, "We can't use any of these. Hey, here's Gerard. Let's contact him." So they contact me and want to use my pictures on the cover for the article. And so I said, "Sure." So I was on the front page of the New York Post, and they paid me $1,000 for that. So I said, "Oh wow, God is always good to me." So anyway, but also in this issue, Hal Jackson. If you don't know Hal Jackson was the host of the Sunday Morning Classics on Sunday, where he, God bless the dead, not only him but my mother. Every Sunday, my mother will be listening to the Sunday Morning Classics. Everybody who is into old school music can tell you that my mother used to play that music. Even a lot of hip hop artists who sample that music will tell you, yes, my mother used to play the dramatics. She used to play around the household. She would hum and would sing. And Hal Jackson was also the first radio announcer to broadcast sports from coast to coast. Hal Jackson did a number of things where he was the first, not only first person, first black, but the first announcer to do a lot of things of what he's done. So he was on there. Also, I had Neville Staples. I decided to put some reggae in there too, because I wanted to touch on all the genre of music, so he was also in there too. And De La Soul. De La Soul was also a pioneer hip hop group. So Google De La Soul. I also had them for my launch party, along with Naughty by Nature. With Treach. Treach was one of the running partners with Tupac. Oh, here it is. This is the cover of the New York Post that they used my picture on there, and this is her holding a picture of the magazine with her cover on there, and it says "Beauty and the Bus, 10 million in Vixen's bed." So that's the cover of the magazine. Thank you, my dear. You gave me $1,000. No, okay. This young lady is named Janelle. Janelle was another. I wanted to make sure I included. I was still S.G.I.B at this time, Strong Gianna Biz, so I was focusing on artists from there. And I wanted to put a sister in the magazine, and Janelle fit that. But here we are, Naughty by Nature and Treach in the house that I report on my launch party. And Leon Ware's. If you don't know who Leon Ware's is, Leon Ware is worked with Marvin Gaye. He was the one who actually did a lot of the songs on "I Want You" album with Marvin, and they were, he later released the masters or the originals from the recording of that session. And so Leon Ware, the other Marvin Gaye story. So that's why he was also in there too. Jimmy Cliff was in this magazine. We Be Jammin. That's what I named the column for reggae music. We Be Jammin. So this is what this one was about. Okay. This one here, I decided to put, these brothers were all access. All Access at the time was two brothers who had their fingers on the pulse of videos, internet. So they had a DVD that they published called All Access, and it had a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of footage of what was going on in the hip hop community, and they became very successful at that, doing that. So I photographed them on the cover. Remix City Volume 1 in Roosevelt. The Cold Crush Brothers. Long Island has been very instrumental in a lot of the hip hop development. LL Cool J. Who else? What do they call him? Parrish from PMD, EPMD, Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy. I mean, I can go on and on about the artists that came not only in Roosevelt, but came out of Long Island. Hal Jackson, BB King also in this one. Chico Dubois was also in this one. And the hardest working dancer in show business. This was another issue with Sarah Raya. But Chico Dubois, who we know him from, he was El Dubois' brother. And Chico, I didn't get a chance to interview him at the venue, so he invited me to his motel and we sat and we talked. It was very cool. It was very cool to have that experience when you're dealing with a mega talent like Chico Dubois, who was just recently here in the Philippines last year. So in barbershop, of course, this is one in Hempstead. When I went to Hempstead barbershop, at this time I was wearing bandanas on my head. I had a variety of colors. It was my style. I mean, when people were looking for a photographer, adult photographer, look, Gerard, he's the one in the bandana. So I always stood out like that. And when I walked into the barbershop, I don't know what color I had, yellow, green, or something like that. Everybody got quiet. And almost said, "Hey, Gerard, you can't come here wearing that bandana." I said, "What are you talking about? You can't wear that color." And I pushed it off. I said, "Oh, man, come on. I want to know you're going to advertise. You going to advertise?" He said, "No, not this time." I said, "Cool." I walked out. And I said, whew. I took that bandana off and have not put on another bandana since, because I realized that could have gotten real ugly real fast simply because of a bandana I was wearing. Okay. Oh, here it is. Paris Smith. Paris Smith was EPMD, a Brentwood pioneer. This is the one, Donna Summers, Barbara Sparks, and Glenn Lewis, who I also interviewed for this issue. Donna Summers was a lot. I asked Donna Summers, I said, "Miss Summers," I said, "you and Barry White were the two biggest things in disco. Why is it that the two of you never got a chance to perform on stage together?" And she said, she said she didn't know. But she said the closest that we came together was him performing and me sitting in the audience. That's not hilarious. But Donna Summers, I just absolutely love her. That interview with her was terrific. And Raphael Sadiq, Raphael Sadiq, and then I have to do another one. Raphael Sadiq was a member of Tony, his group. He is remnants of Prince, meaning that there's so much material in him that he started creating alter ego bands, like what's it called, Pearl. I can't remember the group or nothing. Lucy Pearl was another group he had, and he was just putting out so much music. So I got a chance to interview him. I've interviewed him a couple of times. When I met him the first time to interview him, he was eating in Manhattan at a restaurant, and this was around the Broadway area, Broadway. Where Broadway shows at? What Broadway area? And he asked me if I wanted to eat. I said no. Mr. Sadiq, I'll wait outside. So I waited outside. When he came outside, I asked him questions. We did the interview there because I always had a recorder. We did the interview, and when we got outside, people were just back and forth. It was like ants. Everybody going like this, and we were like packed. And I said, wow, how am I going to take a picture of this guy with all these people? I had to think fast on my mind, and so I, with all the people coming, I told him to back up and just bend down. And when he backed up and bent down, like, I don't know how close you can see this picture, but this picture turned out to be perfect. It turned out to be perfect. Yeah, it was a very nice picture. Now, one other story about Raphael Sadiq, and who else is on here? Hip Hop Community, prepaid legal services. Okay, and then I'm gonna do another video. This one time, I was I'm photographing him again because he put out another project, and we were at New York Central Park. They had a big hip hop festival. I don't know, it was Hip Hop Day or something like that, but all the hip hop greats were there. Biz Markie, just a number of them. Houdini was there. And I love Houdini because the freaks come out at night. And friends, how many of us have them? Let's be friends. So anyway, so when they came on stage, I came backstage. I said, I'm going to go in front and see them. So I'm standing in front of the stage, and Houdini's performing, and his tall brother's there. I said, hey. He said, yeah. I said, which one's Houdini? He said, which one's Houdini? Which one's Houdini? Who are you, man? What are you doing here? You asking me which one's Houdini? I said, ooh. I better learn my hip hop because Houdini was the name of the group, not one person. But speaking of learning about hip hop, I missed that whole hip hop revelation because I was in LA. I was deep into old school music. And plus I was moving too fast. And so when I finally come out of my trials and tribulations back to New York, I had this thing. I was in the basement of my mother's house, and at this time, MTV Rhapsody was on or whatever. So I said, okay, let me check out hip hop. Let me see what it was about. At this time, Tupac was in prison with his dear mama. In prison in Rikers Island for his dear, and he did Dear Mama. So I like Dear Mama enough that I said, you know what? I never bought any artist's CD or albums or anything like that because whatever it was I couldn't get off the radio, I didn't want to listen to because I probably didn't like it. So I figured if you're not going to support my habit, I'm not going to support yours by buying your project. If what you give me free, I may listen to. But I went and I bought his CD called Me Against the World, and it was like putting money on the brother's books because there were some parts in Dear Mama that really touched me, and so I said, I'm going to hear this brother's work. And man, let me tell you, when I got that CD, man, there were a number of songs. Outlaw, Can You Get Away, Temptation. I mean, just a number of projects on that was just blew me up. I'm smiling because there was one guy who I knew. Every payday, when he would go move too fast, he would buy Tupac, and he would get so hyped up and think he would end up breaking it and stuff like this, whatever, because he gets so hyped behind the project, some of the lyrics of the song, So, but not only that, I heard that. I heard Mary J. Blige and Method Man. You're All I Need. You see, a lot of times when I was drawing to hip hop, I wasn't actually drawn to what they were saying. I was drawn to what they were sampling. You see, and that's what really clinched hip hop in the beginning, was what they were sampling. Because they sampled the old school music and they mixed it, and that's what really put it out there. They ultimately had to stop because they were infringing or whatever it is. I don't know what stopped it. But today you don't have that. But that was a key ingredient to early hip hop. And so, I watched it and all that stuff, and but I still listen to Tupac today, because I find Tupac he studied Shakespeare, he acted, he danced, he was a community activist, he was such a well-rounded individual that when people say, "Oh, he's like Tupac," are you kidding me? He's nothing like Tupac. See, it just amazed me. And when he cursed, and when he said, things on his project, it wasn't as shocking as it is today with today's music. They say it for shock value, Now, I actually thought I got a project from Snoop Dogg's camp, Dog Pound. Because they send me CDs to put, to rate. We had a column called, what was it called? Burrow did a column. I can't remember. But anyway, they sent me this CD, and when you first put it in, the first thing that you heard was a child saying shit, 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 shit. And then the second voice was a child even younger going, that you're saying something profanity. And I said, what? And then it goes into all this. I said, wait a minute, how can they do that? You will not watch a porn video with kids playing in the living room and then pan into the bedroom while they're doing freaky things. Because on the outside of that, it has explicit material, adult content. Must be 18 years or older to listen to. How are they able to get away with that? Now, I don't blame the artists, because I know when you have a label that's giving you $5, $6, $10 million to put out something, not only you want to bring your family, you bring your mama, bring your baby's mama, bring your baby's mama, and everybody, big party, and you're doing your thing, and you might hear someone say something, the kid say something, you put a mic to his mouth, you get it down, and you want to loop it. But I hold the distributors responsible. I hold the labels responsible for not listening to it and say, wait a minute, is everybody on here over the age of 18? If not, we can't distribute this. But the fact that they do distribute it, I think it should be a class action suit to hold them accountable for allowing that to happen. We are the only race that they will allow some of the things that are said to be said on a project. And how many years from now they're going to say, how could you let your children perform on stuff like this? It's not the artist's fault. It's the distributor's fault. It's the label's fault. And it's about time they pay. I brought that idea to Reverend Al Sharpton. But it's still going to happen. Okay, this is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka S.G.I.B magazine. Remember, dreams are nothing more than plans awaiting action. Never disrespect the elderly, always pull something out. And sometimes you may be the only one to see your vision. And the best revenge in life is to live good. I'm living good today. I hope you are too. And if you haven't got a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, don't worry about it. Do what I do. Get as much you can, as fast you can, and go home. And I always love you more. And if you're lucky enough to have a woman like Ali Woodson, former lead singer of The Temptation, one son, treat her like a lady. I love you like a love song, baby. I'll talk